Algebra and geometry? Yuck! But Miss Pocket Ronnie can help you.
Okay, we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions. This is a review of that. The main thing to remember when you add or subtract fractions is that you need to find a common denominator. Common denominator. Your denominators need to be the same number. So if I'm looking at 2/3 plus 3/4, I need to find, the technical term is called the least common multiple. I need multiples of 3, multiples of 4, and one that they have in common, and usually the lowest number of those. In other words, I need to turn 3 and 4 into the same number. When you're finding a common denominator, the worst case scenario, if you cannot determine it, is to multiply these two numbers together. Okay? 3 times 4 is 12. In other words, I can turn 3 into 12, I can turn 4 into 12. So therefore, I can turn them both into 12, so my common denominator needs to be 12. Well, what do I multiply to 3 to get 12? I multiply a 4. Well, in the world of math, whatever you do to the numerator, or whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. Okay, so if I'm going to multiply this denominator by 4, I also have to multiply the numerator by 4. So now my new fraction, if I multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4, my new fraction is 8/12. Okay, over here, how do I get 4 to turn into a 12? I multiply it by 3. So if I multiply the denominator by 3, I need to multiply the numerator by 3 as well. So therefore my new fraction, the numerator being 3 times 3 is 9, the denominator is 12. Now when you add fractions, once your denominator is the same, you are adding your numerator. Okay, so this just becomes 8 plus 9, and you leave the denominator the same. Okay, 8 plus 9 is 17, all over 12. You can either leave it as an improper fraction or turn it into a mixed number. Okay, if I want to turn it into a mixed number, 12 goes into 17 one time. There will be 5 left over, and 17/12 nor 5/12 reduces. Always check to see if your fractions can reduce. Okay, let's look at this next one. 4 1/3 minus 6 2/5. There are several different ways you can do this. Since I am teaching, this is going along with Algebra 1, then I am going to recommend that you turn these into improper fractions first, then make a common denominator. There is other ways of being able to add these two mixed, or subtracting these two mixed numbers, but I'm going to just recommend turning them into an improper fraction. Okay? 4 1/3. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Keep the same denominator. Subtracting, 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2, 32. Keep your same denominator. Now that I'm adding, subtracting fractions, I need a common denominator. I need to be able to turn 3 and 5 into the same number. I can get them both to be 15. How do I get 3 to be 15? I have to multiply it by a 5. If I multiply the denominator by 5, I have to multiply the numerator by 5. The reason that you do this is because 5 divided by 5 is 1. It's like you're multiplying this whole fraction by 1. You're just changing the numbers of it, but the value of it is still the same. This just becomes an equivalent fraction. So over here for this fraction, so how do I get this to be a 5? I mean a 15, I multiply it by 3. Well, if I multiply the denominator by 3, I have to multiply the numerator by 3. Okay, so my new fraction over here, 5 times 13. Ooh, I'm doing this in my head. So that should be 65. Make sure I did this right. 15, yeah, 65. So 65/3. Subtracting 3 times 30. 32 times 3. Oh, I thought my cameraman was trying to correct me on this. That's correct. I already knew this. 32 times 3, 96. I knew that. I didn't need help with that one. Over 15, and this denominator should actually be 15. So 65 over 15, and then 96 over 15. So my denominator should be the same. Once my denominators are the same, I'm adding or subtracting the numerators. So this becomes 65 minus 96 all over 15. Now I subtract my numerators. Remember, when you are adding and subtracting fractions, once you get a common denominator, your denominator doesn't change. We don't add or subtract the denominator. It stays the same. So now 65 minus 96, that's going to end up being a negative number. So negative 31. So be careful, 65 subtracting 96. 96 is bigger, so we have a negative number, and I just leave my negative with the numerator. Over 15, I look to see, will that reduce? I cannot reduce that fraction, okay? And it is an improper fraction, so if you want to turn it into a mixed number, you can. Again, you just pull the negative out in front. Don't worry about that for right now. You just leave it out in front, and then you say, how many times will 15 go into 31? Twice, because 15 times 2 is 30, and then there should be 1 left over. You can go back and check yourself. Ignoring the negative for a moment, 15 times 2 is 30, plus 1 is 31. That's 31 over 15, and you have a negative out in front. That just tells you you have a negative number. So either one of these answers is the correct answer.